name is George Lord, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Georgetown, Texas. We're very excited to have you here with us. And to get started, we need a couple folks here to help us out. Jerry, is Jerry here today?
He's here.
Yes, he is. Okay, Dennis is here, and so is Kat. Fantastic.
Full house.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the blessing of this day. Thank you for the food we're about to eat. Ask you to bless it thy use and help us get through the day and do thy will as you'd like it done. Amen.
Face the flag, hand over hearts. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I forgot my cup, so we're going to pretend. Never done milestones, so here we go. Member birthdays, Elizabeth McFarland's birthday, January 19th. Spouse birthday, Reese's wife Nicole, Steve's wife Carla, January 19th and 20th. Wedding anniversary, Vicki, congratulations, 35 years, well done. Club anniversaries, Clark Thurman, 19 years on January 20th. Salute.
Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Visiting Rotarians. Let's start with guests. Anyone brought a guest? Please stand and introduce them. We have a microphone coming around.
It's on its way.
I have got with me today Scott Linebrink and Kelly's wife Kelly. And then, just because I finally learned how to pronounce her name, it's Christine Tomaszewski.
Good French Canadian name.
My guest today is my good friend Chris Lowe.
Welcome. I think we have a guest over here.
I have my son Louis as my guest today.
Any other guests? How about visiting Rotarians? Do we have any visiting Rotarians today? Don't see any? Okay. Next slide. Sergeant at Arms, Dennis.
Everybody got their pins on? I put some money already into the pig this morning, so he's starting to feel a little bit of weight in the gut, but he needs more. You know where he is.
Thank you, Dennis. Next slide. George. Now that you have your food in your mouth.
You should have been a dentist.
Excuse me, Camille Acosta is with us today. Camille, could you stand up? Way in the back. Camille had her proposal for membership accepted by the board today. Her proposal will remain on the table for the next 2 weeks. Anyone that wants to review it and comment on Camille is welcome to do so, but we welcome Camille.
Next slide. Early Act First Night. Who knows what that's all about? 2 people? 3, 4, 5? Okay, that's good. So Early Act First Night, character building program that we pay for and sponsor in the school district here in Georgetown. We've got some dates up there. They have a monthly, or more often, sometimes more often than that, but only monthly program. February 28th is the next one, no, January 31st, sorry, the next one at Pearl Elementary School. Julian, do you normally get a lot of attendance there from our club? Do you normally get a lot of attendance from our club? Sometimes. So you can use a few more people?
We can always use more, and it's a great experience if you haven't done it. Just even if you're not doing it on a regular basis, come out and see it. the hundreds of kids reciting the four-way test better than we do. So,
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next slide. We had a fantastic ramp build this past Saturday. Braved some cold winds. You know, it rained the night before, like most of the night. It stopped in time for us to be there, but we just got to wade through the water and the mud. And they also had some landmines from dogs. That was a lot of fun. Dennis has a new job now, removing landmines. Anyway, we built a 52-foot ramp. The gentlemen you see showing there are the ones that help with that ramp. And 4 of those people are actually not members of our club. So remember, when you come, you can also bring other people. A couple of them are, one of them's a friend of mine from the military and his son, and then 2 of them are neighbors of Dennis. Thank you, Dennis, for bringing folks. And the lady on the far right there is going to be going and having surgery this next week, and this will make all the difference in the world of her being able to get in and out of her own house. So thank you so much, all of you, for building that ramp. Next slide. Michelle, what do we have coming up here?
Next Saturday, we have the Rotary PR training, and I would love for anybody to come that hasn't been before. We have been. We'll have new information so you can refresh that. If you're on the PR committee, definitely come. If you're not, we need more people on our committee, so I would love to have you there.
Awesome, thank you very much. Now Michelle is working on some really great stuff for our club, and she's been participating in a competition. It's a 5-level competition. She's already finished the first 3 levels, and her committee has. They got 2 more levels to go, so if you know anything about public relations and website stuff, I'm harassing our new guest here, because I know she knows a little bit about website and things along those lines. We could always use your help, and we'd love to have you be there to help. Right, Christine? Okay, next slide. Calendar. Basic events we got going on. Club meeting next Friday, where Wiley has the program for us. Got the public image. Following Friday, Dr. Ted Coy. Steve Shaw is the following Friday after that. I will not be there on the 7th. I will be in Guatemala that week. And then on the 8th, District Foundation Gala. Billy Ray, how are we doing on that?
We're doing quite well, but we can do better. We filled up the entire table. We have 3 on the second table. And that's a week old information. So we may very well be coming up close on filling that second table. I'd love to do that.
So how many are at a table? 8?
10.
10. Okay.
And of course, spouses are certainly welcome. It's generally quite fair. It's just really inspirational to hear people that truly know what we are doing with the Rotary Foundation worldwide. And so if you can make it, it will be worth your while, something memorable for your experience as a Rotarian.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jeff and Nathan.
Yeah.
So what's going on April 3rd?
All right, guys, so our next big fundraiser is the Rotary Golf Tournament, which is Friday, April 3rd. Cowan Creek, you all know the program. We're going to actively start soliciting sponsors and players. We try to get a field of 36 teams. It's always a huge fundraiser, big time, live entertainment. Larry's food is just okay, but beef tenderloin, golf shrimp, all kinds of good stuff. Please come out and support it again.
I bet I can do 2 things. I'll book your popcorn and hot dogs again. But I bet I can recruit more teams than anybody in this room.
There you go. We got
a challenge.
We got a challenge.
I don't want to talk about golf. I don't know anything about golf. There's my challenge. Right now, we need to tell people our golf tournament is the best in April the 3rd, so that they can skip all these other little pathways.
That's right. He's officially on the committee because he can sell better than anybody in here. So But thank you all. You'll hear more from us on the golf tournament, especially new members, though, if you're looking for something to get involved with. We would really appreciate your support because we typically have 3 or 4 people that kick off this huge event as our committee, and we've got, I think, 12 new members, we said.
Yes, we do.
So that'd be great.
And
Thank
Nathan,
y'all.
is there something special you're doing this year with the golf tournament?
Oh, we're going to do the Roaring 20s
The
theme.
Roaring 20s, all right.
So get your knickers out and your, yeah.
It's going to be an awesome time on the golf course. Look at there. Fantastic. All right. And then another big celebration coming up in May. It's a weekend celebration, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's a celebration of clubs down in Boerne, Texas. Our district is all the different clubs in the district getting together and having a big celebration down there. So I highly encourage you to come and join us for that. All righty, next slide. Look where we are. Shelley, your turn.
I am very pleased to introduce to you today Scott Linebrink, who is the Stewardship Advisor for Water Mission. Scott is a native of Austin and graduated from Medill High School in 1994 and attended Concordia University after that, majoring in environmental science and lettering on the baseball team. He transferred to Texas State in the fall of 1996 and continued his studies there. As a member of the Bobcats baseball team, he helped lead Texas State to their first appearance in the regional tournament. Following his lone season at Texas State, Scott was drafted in the 2nd round by the San Francisco Giants and began his professional baseball career. Over the next 15 seasons, Scott featured as a late-inning reliever for 7 organizations, including the Giants, Houston Astros, San Diego Padres, Milwaukee Brewers, Chicago White Sox, Atlanta Braves, and St. Louis Cardinals. He compiled a 42-31 record in 607 games while amassing over 650 innings pitched. After retiring from baseball during the 2012 season following a shoulder injury, Scott returned to Concordia University to complete his degree. After graduation, he began a 2nd career serving as Stewardship Advisor for Water Mission, a global Christian nonprofit providing safe water and sanitation solutions for developing countries. Scott lives out his passion of building relationships in order to provide basic needs for those living in some of the poorest conditions. Scott resides near Walburg, Texas, with his wife Kelly, of 16 years, and daughters Ellie and Abby. He attends Zion Lutheran Church with his family and also supports Williamson County Fellowship of Christian Athletes and Professional Athletes Outreach by serving on their respective boards. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Shelley. I'm sorry if I missed any of your teams there. I tried to hit them all. But Shelley's right. This is a passion of mine now, and I'm grateful to be here and be able to talk with you today about that. We've got a great relationship with Rotary, and that's one of the things that I want to tell you about today. But first, before I start, let me just get you to imagine life without water. When you woke up this morning, you probably took a shower. You probably cooked some food. Everything that we do has to do with water. Even making our coffee. I mean, God forbid we couldn't have coffee, right? But for us, life without water might be an inconvenience. But for a lot of people, this is a real problem. And it contributes to issues in their life that are much more than inconveniences. So me and my wife were introduced to that. And I've made it my passion for going out and sharing with people about the issues that stem from safe water, or from a lack of safe water. If I could get the presentation to come up here. I've got some slides that I want to show you guys. So think about some of these issues. Having to walk 5 miles to get water. That's what some people have to do, and the water that they get is contaminated. Think about your children that have to drink contaminated water and all of the issues that stem from that. Having to care for them. This is a big problem for people. My eyes have been opened to the global water crisis, and just to share with you some numbers on that, I'm hoping that this clicker is going to reach.
Brad will change it for you.
Okay, yeah. So these are the numbers on the global water crisis. The fact of the matter is that 2.1 billion people lack access to safe water. You can see that picture there of a typical source in Honduras. Another 4.4 billion people lack access to sanitation. Sanitation is a huge issue, and it goes hand in hand with safe water. And let me just pause right there and tell you what safe water is. Safe water is water that you can drink that's not going to make you sick. So any contaminants at all that are in water that have a chance to make you sick, we do not view that as safe. So access is a huge thing, but also water that is safe enough to drink and that is not going to make you sick and meets U.S. drinking water standards. That's our passion. That's what we're after. That's what Water Mission is all about. My wife and Kelly and I joined Water Mission 7 years ago. We were introduced to this group, and we started with a financial investment, and then we were invited to go and see some of the work in Haiti. And we were just blown away at that trip. It was actually going and seeing on the ground what was happening and getting a chance to see what a difference safe water can make for people. And now we're full-time advocates. Now we go around and we tell people about the issues that affect, again, 30% of the world's population, and how there's solutions out there that doesn't have to be like that we can all work together to create safe water systems for people in developing countries. And again, that's exactly what we do at Water Mission. So I want to ask y'all two questions. These are questions that I ask myself, especially when I come back from a place that doesn't have safe water. Why am I privileged to not have to worry about an issue like safe water or basic needs? And then what am I willing to do about it? And I know you as Rotarians, that's why you're here. You joined Rotary, you're here at lunch today because you want to help people, you want to make a difference. And Water Mission has a great history of working together with Rotary, working with people, joining together, teaching the community, not just giving them the resources that they need to have safe water, but also what they need to manage that system and live healthy lives moving forward. So if we can give a community safe water, we can do a lot of things. There we go. Those are just some more facts about the global water crisis. Issues that plague people because, again, just not having a place to go to get water that's not going to make them sick. If you go to the next slide there, I've given you a little bit of an idea of what life without safe water is like, but what is life with safe water? What can we do? And these are things that are impacted. And I looked at Rotary, before I came here today, I looked at Rotary's 6 areas of focus. And so many of the areas of focus, and I know providing safe water is one of them, so many things stem from that. If you can just provide water for people, you can have an impact on the economy. It's been said and researched that $1 invested in safe water can produce as much as a 4-fold return and up to a 34-fold return. And just think about that for a minute. Just people having the time to be productive members of society, to hold down a job. Again, not have to go and travel and spend hours a day traveling to these water sources to get clean water and bring it back to your house. If we can free people up to do what God intended them to do and to live as productive members of society, we can have a huge impact on the economy. Education as well. I've learned through my time at Water Mission that young girls typically stop going to school around the age of 10 to 12. And much of that reason has to do with sanitation facilities. They don't want to go to a place where they can't use the restroom. It's embarrassing for them. It's a health issue. But just what can be done for young women in developing countries by giving them sanitation facilities in schools will allow them to continue their education. We can reduce waterborne illnesses, issues like typhoid and cholera. We've done studies that have shown that there's a 52% decline in waterborne illnesses if we can just eliminate bad water. More importantly, it restores the broken relationships that come from water. And that really is, when you look at the ground, the root cause of poverty, it's broken relationships. I heard a story that I want to share with you guys, and it was when I was in Honduras, and there was a community that we were working with, and this community, they had a very high infant mortality rate. And I can't give you the exact number, but there were many of the kids in this community that were dying before they reached the age of 1. The families in this community were actually, it had become a common practice to wait to name their children until they reached 1 year of age, because so many of them were losing their kids. They didn't even want to connect with their children at that point, or to that extent, until they knew that they were going to survive. These issues were coming from the water that they were bathing and using to cook food and give to their children. So just that right there, these are issues that we don't even think about here in the United States. We don't have to deal with them on a daily basis, but just the ability to connect among our families. These are the broken relationships that I'm talking about that contribute so much to the problems associated with water. So, what is Water Mission's solution? Let's go to the next slide, or maybe a couple slides away. Yeah, one more please. All right, let's start here. So, many of you are probably not engineers. I work for an engineering company, and we can really nerd out on some of this stuff. So, I don't mean to get really in the weeds about this, but I do want to show you this because I want to show you the comprehensive nature that Water Mission takes to do a safe water project. It's a multi-step process. It involves much more than just drilling a well. But drilling a well is the first step. So we're going to start there. So drilling a well, or we're also able to use surface water sources because we have the ability to treat water. And that's the next slide. That'll be our second step. Water Mission's developed several different ways to do that, and we have some patented technology and equipment that allows us to treat water. We can pull water out of a ditch and treat it, and chlorinate it, and filter it, take out all of the sediment, make it completely safe to drink. Recently, the disaster that we had in the Bahamas, Water Mission is still actively working in the Bahamas, but we were able to take reverse osmosis units, which have the ability to treat salt water. So you can remove salt water and make it potable to drink. That's a much more energy-intensive process. Typically, the system that we use, you see in that house right there, but that is called a living water treatment system. And again, that's a patented product that our founder, George Green, made. This is very typical of what you'll see in a rural community. You've got a structure there to house the system. You see solar panels up on top, which allow us to power that system. This is very convenient in a place like the middle of Africa or the remote jungles of the Amazon forest, where we don't have the ability to use grid power, but because we can harness the power from the sun, we can power that pump that's down in that well, push it through the filtration equipment and up to that storage container behind there. Have I lost anybody yet? Okay. All right, let's go to the next slide. This is part of that same project, and these are two of the members of the community that we have trained to now operate and maintain that system. So we go in and we identify some of the leaders and we teach them, and we call it a Safe Water Committee. We have a president, we have a vice president, a treasurer. They're the ones that deal with most of the issues. But much like a structure of a local city government, we set that up, and that's what ensures the long-term sustainability of this. And when we leave a community, after we have put in all of the infrastructure and done all the necessary training, when we leave, they now have all the tools that they need to carry that project forward. So that is the real key to what makes this sustainable. The next step is distribution. This is very important in creating access. And this is called a tap stand. So from that system that you saw, after it's stored, it's distributed through a pipe network to multiple tap stand locations, which you see here. There could be as many as 10 to 12 of these in a small rural community. And this is so important so that people have multiple places to go and get the water. Sometimes these small communities, they just have a shallow well. If you have 1,000, 1,500 people living in one place and they all have to line up to get water, it causes a lot of problems. This next slide will show you, I recently traveled to Uganda back in November, and this is the site of one of the boreholes in the projects in a village that we were working in. This is what they had. This water source supplied not only that town, but a couple of surrounding towns where everybody had to come and get water. Now, first of all, that water is pumped out of the ground, so it's better than most of what they had to get in a stream or a lake, but it still wasn't completely safe to drink. So this boy was actually pulling that water so that they could use it for non-household needs. But the story that this lady told us was how two girls from neighboring villages, they were from different tribes, one day they got into a fight about who was first in line, who had the right to access that water. The fight became so violent that one of the girls actually lost her life. And at that point, the community said, enough, no more. We have got to do something better to provide for our children. That's when they called Water Mission in. This actually ended up being a Rotary project. So the local Rotary Club there in Uganda worked with another Rotary Club over the United States. They put in a complete safe water system for these people. Life is now much different. The access points that they have, I think they have 6 different tap stands, and we visited one of those, that they can go to and get water. So again, providing that access is a huge deal. Finally, the last thing, next slide, is the training that we do. And this is WASH training, so it's an acronym, Water and Sanitary Hygiene. So what this is teaching people how to use that tool of safe water. It's not just enough to give them safe water, you've got to give them a way to use that. You got to teach them how it's so important to wash your hands after using the restroom, before cooking a meal, after cleaning the kitchen, and after cleaning the latrines. This is a huge issue, and we have to teach and train them how to do that. For most of us, it's things that we learned in kindergarten. But in developing countries, these are things that we have to teach all members of society. So again, I mentioned that I've been to Africa. That's one of the places that we work, Southeast Africa. We also work in Latin America, and we work in Indonesia. We work in disaster response situations. So I mentioned the Bahamas. We've also been heavily involved in Puerto Rico and a handful of other disaster areas, Mexico, the Nepal earthquake back in 2015. So we are positioned to go wherever the disaster is, and we want to go where the biggest need is. That is our motto, is to serve as many people as we can, as quickly as we can. So, now that you know what's possible, I've showed you the problem, I've showed you what life without safe water looks like, and what the possibilities are with safe water. Now, I want to talk about a little bit of the history of Rotary. And this, by the way, is the total number of projects, and this is a little bit on the light side. I think this year, actually, we're celebrating 4.8 million people served. The history of Water Mission goes back to 2001, and it started with a natural disaster. So from there, we have built out these different country programs that are serving around the world. But the next slide talks about, this is a great slide to show you the history of what's been done through Rotary. Rotary is one of our biggest partners. $4.7 million in grants from Rotary since 1999, and you can see the flags of the different country projects that we've done. This probably needs to be updated a little bit because you can see a growing trend in the number of projects and the number of countries. And in 2018, it leads you to believe that it all fell off, but that's about when this slide was made. But we are continuing to do more and more Rotary projects. The entire country program of Peru is basically funded by Rotary. So we do a lot of work. We love doing work with Rotary. Rotary loves how Water Mission comes back and reports on the work that's been done, and we can break things down from an engineering standpoint and show what dollars were spent, how they were spent, and what they're accomplishing. So we identify the areas of greatest need, and we have a proven model of success. And we're happy to do this work, and we're happy to, again, celebrate that with you, because this can affect the entire life of a community. And before I close, I just want to share this, that this is really a watershed moment for a community. When you think about what generations have had to deal with and what they have after the safe water system comes in, that is a turning point for that community. It changes the trajectory for hundreds and thousands of people. And we're doing that community by community, going in and changing that story for them, rewriting it. I want to share with you one story that I just heard this week. And we do a survey that basically comes in and analyzes the water situation. And it has all kinds of questions on it having to do with the quality of the water, the access, if people are aware of some of the issues, that we can change with a safe water system. And we had a gathering, and there was a bunch of people from the community that came in to this house, and we shared with them that there were some very different results from the older population of the community down to the younger population. And we just asked the question, why do you think that is? The people that were older, that had lived there for a long time, were pretty satisfied with the status of the water situation. The young people were not at all. They were the ones that said that there was a lot of issues. And we said, why do you think this is? Why is there such a disparity? One older gentleman of the community stood up and literally started crying, and he said, I'm so embarrassed because I am one of the older people that has become complacent, that has been accepting of the way the water situation has been for years around here. Many of us have gotten sick. We've all had to deal with issues. Some of us have even lost loved ones. And we need to do a better job. We should not be satisfied with the way things are. These younger people are the ones that are telling us that we need to do a better job. And we need to provide for our kids that are right here. And he pointed to the children that were in front. And it was just a wonderful moment right there because we got total buy-in from the community because they realized that they needed to do something to change it. And so this was the first step in growing that relationship and in starting to develop a plan and build for the future. And that's what we want to do each and every day. So I'll finish with a quote, and then there's a video at the end of this. Here's an example of one of the Rotary projects actually in Peru. There's a video, and I don't know if it'll play, so we'll try it. But if it doesn't, I'll finish with this quote right here. It's one that I've got on my desk, and I think all Rotarians would love this. Here, we'll play the video. Go ahead. Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to play.
First became connected.
Well, it is a good
really.
But if any of you would like to see it, I can send it to you. That's why I don't rely on videos, because something always goes wrong. But I'll finish with that quote. And this is a quote that, again, I put on my desk. Because it says, "Poverty destroys the body and crushes the spirit. And alleviation of it is a sacred task." So thank you as Rotarians for what you do for others. I would love to work with you as Rotary Club, you as individuals. If you have questions or would like to know more about Water Mission, I would love to have the chance to talk with you. I'll be sticking around afterwards. So thank you again, Shelley, for letting me speak, and hope y'all have a wonderful day and a weekend. Thank you.
Scott, thank you very much. As you're well aware, that's one of the major focuses of Rotary as we continue to move forward in the future is water. Our club has got a lot of work that we're doing in that area also. But one of the things we want you to do, we have our guests, our speakers signed a book that goes to Pearl Elementary School, and if you'll do that, that would be fantastic. And then we'll give that to the kids. And Scott will be available to answer questions afterwards. As you can see, this is something Rotary is also actively involved in. And you know our club is also involved in a water project down in Guatemala, or at least we're working on putting that together and almost finished with that. So thank you very, very much. Thank you for your wisdom and all the great work that you're doing in that area. All right, next slide. Any announcements for the good of Rotary? It's a quiet day. Wow, we're gonna get done early? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Here's what the cost of the system is. And so you said you might work with Rotary. Asking for money from us?
Always. We're not going to address asking money today. That's not, he's just here. He does work with Rotary. The organizations work together all the time.
That's right. No, the projects that we do vary in scope. Some of the projects that we do are as little as $5,000. We do some projects that are hundreds of thousands of dollars. It really depends on the size of the community, the resources that are available, but I'll just say that every project is customized So we go in and we analyze what they have. In some cases, they have a good source of water. They just need some filtration to clean it up, or they need a distribution system. Some of them just need training. So on average, what I have seen in Latin American countries, a typical project is around $50,000 for, let's say, a community of 2,000 people. But kind of and I don't know if this totally divides out right, but what we tell people is, this is kind of an arbitrary number, but for somewhere between $40 and $50 per person, we can do a system. And again, that's not just for a year, that's in perpetuity. People that use the system, they pay into that. And so that Safe Water Committee, that treasurer, they manage their own funds. And the idea is that they will continue to pay down for depreciation of parts and even extend the system to include more areas. We give them the start, and then we set up that financial model that allows them to carry it forward.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much.
George, would you give an update to the club about Myra and Peggy?
Yes, I would be happy to do that. Thank you for reminding me, Karen. Almost forgot. So, Peggy collapsed at her work last Thursday. She had back surgery on Sunday. A little rough going after that, but now she's actually on the road to recovery and doing significantly better. That doesn't mean she's out of the woods. She's still in the hospital. She's at St. David's Hospital in Round Rock, and she's moved to a different room, so I don't know the room number. Room number 140. If you'd like to go visit her, she'd love to have you. But don't everybody go at one time and overwhelm her. You understand what that's like. Also, Myra, as you know, Myra waited to have back surgery until after the Field of Honor was over. So on the 20th of November, she had back surgery. And then some complications occurred. She ended up with an infection that didn't heal correctly. Had to go back and have additional surgery to get all that cleaned out. And she's actually been in a rehab facility since then. She gets out on Wednesday. If anyone would like to visit her, she would love to have people come visit. She's in Round Rock at the Bel Air at Terra Vista. Bel Air at Terra Vista. If you put that in your search, it'll find it very easily for you there. It's right off of University, right in the Terra Vista subdivision. I think it's actually right on Terra Vista Drive, if I'm correct, the right road. But she would love to see you. She will be out on Wednesday. She's been there the whole time because they want to make sure that infection's gone, and she's on IV antibiotics the whole time. So appreciate your prayers for those and anyone else who is not doing well. And thank you very much, Karen, for reminding me of that. That's extremely important. Any other questions? Any other comments or announcements for the Good Rotary? With that, please stand and join me for the things we think, say, or do. First,
is it the truth?
Second,
fair to all concerned.
Third,
will it benefit the good will of better friendship?
And fourth,
will be beneficial to all concerned.
We are adjourned.